What's up? By the way, I'm Marc, man.
What's up, Marc?
He actually met you one time. I'm sure he remembers. I'm sure he does. I'm sure that's a highlight of it. Yeah. All right, guys, welcome back to the Real Quick with Mike Swick podcast, episode number 51. Very good guest today. We've been trying to get for a while. Yeah. Mr. Uriah Faber. Welcome to the show, buddy.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me, man.
What's up, man? Appreciate you being on.
Yeah, good to get you on finally, man. And now we were going to get you on here a while back. Was it like 2 months ago, I guess?
We had a fight coming up.
Yeah, but no, before that, 2 months ago, and then now we got so much more to talk about. So it's actually pretty good. I know you're waiting for us, right?
Just been waiting. I want it to be worth your time, worth your while, man. I don't want to waste your time.
Yeah. So obviously some big stuff, man. Congrats on your win. Obviously, you've been hearing that a lot, I'm sure. Awesome performance.
Yeah, that was a crazy night, man. So much fun out here in Sacramento, and we had a whole host of guys on the team. We had some great performances, so being a part of it was just exciting, man. Looking for different ways to make life exciting. That was definitely a good time for sure.
Way to do it for us 40-year-olds and OGs.
Yeah.
Getting in there with the young guys.
To represent, baby.
That was awesome, man. You know, we've seen a lot of interviews about the fight or about after the fight, Henry, and what you want to do next and this and that. But no one's really kind of broke down the fight. What your how the fight went. I know you were going to ask this.
Yeah, because
you asked me this.
I mean, obviously we get the whole the big thing is with Cejudo and all that, going back and forth with you and him and all that stuff. But I mean, man, you put on one hell of a fight. You won performance of the night, right? And then it was also your fastest fight in your career, which I don't know a lot of people know that. And after a 2.5 year layoff at being the tender age of 40, So I've seen you in interviews and stuff like that, but we haven't get your take on the fight because he's taken some time off. He had a almost 3 year layoff, before fight. So if you wouldn't mind, explain, going in that fight, the mindset and getting in there, getting hit for the first time in a while, and then what you did afterwards, of course.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was, and just like Mike, we're in that environment. Whether you're competing every day or training when you want to, just kind of teaching or at least seeing, observing, giving little bits and pieces of knowledge to the guys on the mentality of things, giving away some of your best techniques and reviewing them over and over again. And for me especially, being a guy that can take a look at the lay of the land, and Mike and I have talked about this in the past, but the reason why guys are able to have great careers, it's not about age, it's about their mentality, and it's about their skill set and that kind of thing. So, it's easy for me to step back and be like, man, the reason why I had so much success was not necessarily because I was 26. It was because I believed in myself and I was completely dedicated and I was all in and everything else. So, getting prepared for that fight, I started out pretty early. In January, I decided, okay, I think I might compete. So I started prepping my body, getting a little bit better shape, and participating more than just being there at practice to help guys out. And then I took that grappling competition in the UK and rolled that right into jumping into sparring. And I think being a little bit older athlete, I was a little bit smarter with sparring, with who I sparred with the intensity that I sparred, and then also made sure that I was in just tip-top shape. And that was something that, the grind of the fight game is just difficult. So getting yourself into that mental switch where you're going to be tired, you're going to be hungry, you're going to be little bumps and a little bit of bruises, you may be injured, but you just have to push through. That was probably the biggest difference. And then you guys saw the performance. I mean, I felt like I didn't practice. I believed that I was going to do well, and felt like I was going to see the punches coming and be able to land my offense. And I've gotten a little bit bigger over the years. So I had a little bit more power, I feel like, and a little bit more precision. So, man, it went perfect.
Yeah, that was good. And then going back to your grappling match, I got the feeling when I was watching that you were kind of pushing the boundaries a little bit. Like I could see that fighter in you wanting to come out. So like, even though it was grappling and grappling rules, it seemed like I was watching a fighter that wanted to fight, not grapple, and not stick by those rules. And I think you know what I'm talking about. So like, it was no surprise to me that you came out so hard in this fight. Like, some people don't have it when they get older and when they're retired, and they just come back to do it for, you know, whatever it is. Could be the money, it could be for they missed it, whatever the case, and they don't have that tenacity and that hunger. But just from that grappling match, I already kind of assumed you were going to come out of the gate like that, and you did. So it wasn't a surprise to me to see you do that.
Yeah, in that grappling match, you know, I've only done like maybe 5 grappling matches my entire career that are not wrestling. I've had hundreds of wrestling matches, obviously, but for that grappling match, before that, I went with Sakuraba, and I put it on Sakuraba, even though he's a lot bigger than I was. I just pushed the pace and was manhandling him and you know, aggressive in that respect. And before that, I was with Paulo Miao, who's a multiple world champ in jiu-jitsu, and was doing that because I wanted to compete still. And the last one against Nicky Ryan, I mean, all these different organizations have different rules, and I'm to the tone of, look, this is a grappling match. I don't have to just engage in your world because you want me to like jump in your guard, etc. So I was just kind of like making a statement like, look, if you want me to go somewhere, pick me up, put me there, out trick me. I don't just have to commit to your game because I'm in a jiu-jitsu match, especially when, like in Abu Dhabi, a guy butt scooting like that is illegal. He'd be disqualified. So I just kind of sat there on my knees and was like, look, this is the real world. This is supposed to simulate a death match in some ways. We're trying to submit each other, and I would just push you in your face, or more so, I would probably stomp you in your face or punch you or everything else. And so I just wanted to bring a little bit of reality to the jiu-jitsu situation there. And honestly, he and I had gone prior, and so he was aware of my chokes, and I was aware of his back takes. So it was like kind of a weird situation. But at the end of the day, I asked Polaris, or I asked the rules, and it was like, oh, there really aren't many rules. So I'm like, all right, well, let's go then. But yeah, the intensity level is always going to be there.
That's awesome, man. And then obviously you got the big win. And it seemed like the ref was pulling you off, and you kind of were you were like the lion. They had to basically pry you off. And then you had that, you know, obviously that emotion and that excitement right when you obviously got pulled off and was walking across the octagon. What was that feeling like since it's been so long? Did it feel any better than some of the other wins just because it's been so long and people were saying you're old and stuff like that?
Yeah, it did feel good, man. I mean, it felt good because, you know, especially because of the scenario in my hometown. And honestly, my last fight against Brad Pickett, I like Brad Pickett a lot. And I caught him with the left hook and dropped him. And then I didn't pounce on him right away. And it ended up making it be a 3-round fight when I should have gone for the kill right away. But I looked at the ref and like gave him like one of these, like, hey, you going to stop it? And then he ended up being a tough guy that you know, that went through and kept going. So in that scenario, I was like, all right, let me finish this dude. And then, you know, I was leadership for the team too, because I really, aside from all the reasons why I wanted to do it, I wanted to set an example for my guys. You know, I'm in the gym every day and I'm preaching rhetoric on what the mentality and lifestyle and what you should do if you get injured during a camp, and how you should, you know, approach gaining technique, and how you should react during sparring, and, you know, all this different stuff. And so I wanted to show my guys through a camp of pure focus for a busy guy that, you know, you can do some good things. And I mean, of course, it's always a gamble when you're going out there to fight. You know, life is not a fairy tale. I'm fighting a 26-year-old cat that's on an 8-fight win streak, and he's a dangerous athletic guy. So, you know, you have to take a little risk to prove your point, and could have been very bad also. So, you know, fortune favors the bold. Your story about, you know, your journey to Phuket and like the hardships you went through the first time, and then pushing through that to make it happen and just decide is kind of the same idea. Like, you know, we got to show these guys you do what the hell you want in this world. That's
mm-hmm.
it.
That's it. I'm going to fight again, dude.
Yeah, see, he's up. Hey, you got to bear with me. I'm sorry if this is obvious. I just don't. When you after you won, you were doing in the camera for something. What was that about?
I said the big 4-0.
Oh, okay. I couldn't hear it.
4-0.
We watched it at the gym and couldn't hear it.
Well, honestly, the right now the number 4 is just like a happening number for me right now. I'm like a bunch of different reasons. My baby just turned 4 months. I'm 40 years old. I got about 400K. That 400K, I got it set up to where that's going to make me about $4 million. I got, all these different 4s are just kind of aligning for me. I'm like, damn, the number 4 is like, that's the number right now for me.
4 weeks till you fly out to Phuket?
I was going to say he's going to go to Thailand for us to hang out and train at AKA Thailand. I got you, dude. I feel you.
Trust me, bro. I really, really want to get out there. I've had a free trip since 2006 as a sponsorship from FYTRS back in the day that I never took because I got too busy being a professional fighter, etc. And that was like part of my sponsorship from like my early career was that I got to go train out in Thailand. I've never been there, man. I feel like I'm super missing out, man. I watch you guys' videos and I'm like, dude, what am I doing? I need to get out to hang out with you guys. And so I'm down. Absolutely. I want to see the operation and come hang out. And Swick, I want to talk more about the movie stuff and the entertainment stuff because I know you're in that world. And so I'm down to come. I just got to find the right. I do have a scheduled trip to Hawaii. My girl, I'm bringing the baby out there. She's got some family out there. So I got to pick and choose the best use of my time, but that's definitely one of my goals and on my agenda.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I think for $4 million, you can afford a trip to Phuket for sure.
Well, that's a theoretical. You know how money works.
Or 400,000 is plenty. Or 4,000. 4,000 is more than I've ever came with until I started building a company here. So
I was going to buy your beer, but forget that.
Yeah, and all that money, man. It's all things I'm manifesting. Also, it's not like a easy peasy, but I've got things pretty set up to where I've got some opportunities and stuff. And the numbers 4 is cooking up, so I have to come out for you guys out to Thailand.
I love your mindset, dude. You're always thinking business. A lot of people probably don't. Well, obviously you're successful in so many realms. I'm sure people realize how smart you are and you are business savvy. But every time I've met you and talked to you, it's always kind of like went back to business. And it's cool because I'm in business myself. So I love like talking to other fighters, especially who are into business. And then my interest is in film as well. Obviously media, and we do a lot of media out here. And your interest is in film and you're doing some stuff. So it was really cool meeting you in LA that time. We were at Schwarzenegger's house, which was pretty fucking cool, I'll say.
That was
talk
awesome.
about boss, dude. I got invited to Arnold Schwarzenegger's house and we were doing a charity event. And I'm thinking like, man, I'm cool as shit being able to go to Arnold Schwarzenegger's house, a private party, charity. And of course I walk in, I'm just like, wow, this is so cool, so cool. And I look over and I see Uriah Faber just sitting there like twice as cool as me. He's already there. He's not even like walking in like me. He's already there, comfortable, knows everybody, getting drinks.
He stayed the night before.
He's just chilling, cards in his hand. I'm like, God, this motherfucker's so cool, man. So cool.
That's freaking funny, man. We had a good time. And I mean, you know what's cool about those kind of experiences? And it just goes back to what we're already talking about, manifesting stuff. Is it just and I like to do this for people all the time, also, and people are shocked by it. But it's just the real world is just being around a bunch of peers that have accomplished, and realizing everybody's the same. It's just, like Arnold's a cool cat. He's down to earth. He values meeting new people that have the same mentality and a lot of people that were there at that party and are in these circles are guys that have been doing some amazing things. But you just realize, like, the world is so small, the abilities of people are so big, and we can really accomplish a lot. And that those kind of scenarios just fuels the fire where you're like, dude, I'm going to take over this area of life and this area of life. And I'm sitting here with a couple of my idols growing up. Sylvester Stallone was there, and there's Jason Statham was there, and meeting some business guys from all different walks. So those type of environments are awesome. And I've heard guys that have talked about, hey man, it's crazy how you just treat everybody like they're just regular people. And I'm like, well, shit, they are just regular people. We're all just people, and as long as people get that in their head, like, we're all peers, we're all equals, and you can do what you want, you know?
It's so cool you said that, man, because
I wasn't invited.
And then
no, I don't believe you.
It was so cool that, you know, Marc didn't go. No, it was cool that you say that, man, because it's so true. Like, anytime I've hung out with really successful people or famous people, one thing I always tell myself during the conversation or after is like, wow, he's just a regular guy, or you know, she's just a regular girl. And then I like tell myself that, and I'm like, yeah, but man, she's just done the right thing, you know, and pursue their dreams, whatever else. But like, when you meet people like we met at Arnold's house, the more you get to know these people that are successful and famous, like to those levels, they are regular people. And it's shocking at first because you expect that there's some like being that's like not normal, but really they are. And then that puts things into perspective for guys like us and everyone coming up and trying to get to that level where, you know, the world's open for whatever, you know, you need to do and where you want to go. You just got to go get it. And these are people that went out and got it, you know, and aside from that, they're just like anyone else. You know, they hang out, they, you know, play cards. You know, we did all kinds of stuff there. It was such a normal day, such a normal party, but it was just a who's who in Hollywood. You know, it was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like that's probably the biggest thing is you know, surround yourself with people that are like-minded. It doesn't matter what they've accomplished really, but like-mindedness is a big key. And I found that big time is the case, and that's something I have to hammer down, especially these guys that come from nothing that are looking at me as somebody to give them some advice, or they're on my team, and so I see like some little follies. Andre Feely's one of those guys who I've had to talk to about, you know, bringing other people up instead of going and hanging out on their level, and he's been doing that tenfold. He had a massive win in Sacramento, and the coolest thing about it is he's got all his stuff going, and he's got all his friends that were kind of screwing up that are now have a sense of pride and feel like they're accomplishing and they're thinking bigger. And this stuff's contagious, man. Energy's contagious. The mindset's contagious. Like, it really is. And you know, the more we accomplish, the more we get our friends to accomplish, and the people that are in our circles to accomplish, the more powerful your network goes.
Right.
You know, so that becomes like I know Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that's cool because he's, you know, who he is. It's like, you know, somebody that's similar to you, and you guys connect on a real level. And like the Arnolds and the Sylvesters and all those guys, they came up together, like kind of building their own names, like together. So they have like a different kind of network. You could see it when they interacted. It was like, okay, these guys have a bond that they've probably seen some shit together, man. You know, before social media and like the old Hollywood and the struggles and everything else. So I always, whenever I meet these guys or anybody, I just want to get the in-depth story of how they got their path. And so every chance I get, I get the back end story to a successful person, man. And so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and like you said, they're kind of in packs. It's almost kind of like MMA teams, you know, like Alpha Male, AKA, like they bounce off each other, and their whole little group comes up together. It's kind of like that, and like what you were saying, probably feeding each other motivation and inspiration through their own journeys. You know, I definitely see that as well. So I think it's very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Say like you were saying, he did that to me. I wasn't the finest of employees. We've known each other 25 years.
He's my high school buddy.
Yeah,
I don't let him go.
So
that's awesome.
And then we took different paths a little bit after high school, but yeah, man, like I said, he brought me here, showed me work ethic. You know, I mean, nobody works harder than this guy. So,
but he's at the gym more than me, which you pointed out today.
Yeah, well, I mean,
in front of all our
I'm
staff.
the face of the gym. You probably recognize me more than him.
It's true.
But
he's at the gym more than I.
No, like you said, it's contagious, man. I don't hang out with these idiots that just want to drink all the time or do dumb shit. You know, because I want to, like, you know, obviously I'm old too now, but I'm saying coming up, but. So I know exactly what you guys are talking about. I mean, I can test to exactly what you're saying, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was saying on the front of, you know, best use of time too. That's kind of one of my things is it's hard to know the best use of time, and especially when you're thinking about all these other things. Times like this where you're in the limelight, people come out of the woodworks and have ideas and this and that. You know, it's cool that you guys are super focused and hammering down, you know, a great facility and the things that you're working on. It helps not to get strung in too many different directions, but it's also hard, you know, when you're ambitious.
Yeah.
You know?
Well said. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. And, you know, I follow Gary Vee a lot, and some of his principles and stuff. Like, I feel I was really not looking forward to being 40. This was a big one for me, man. I don't know how you felt about it, but I was really dreading the big 4-0. But the more I think about it, and obviously following Gary and stuff, between 40 and 50 is still such a lot, like such a massive time. You know what I mean? There's a lot of time there to make something happen. I think a lot of people are in such a rush now to try to do stuff so fast. And when they get to like mid 30s, if they don't have this big company and they're making all this money, they kind of panic and freak out and then settle. That's like the next thing to do. Whereas I did kind of feel, you know, after I turned 40, I kind of got over that fear and depression, I guess, short-term depression. And now I feel comfortable. You know, I feel like I have a lot of time between now and 50 to do something. And I feel like you're the same way. You got so much stuff every time we talk that you're working on. And I think that's what a lot of people need to realize too. I see a lot of people kind of settling and giving up so fast and so early. And there's still a lot of time, man. Like 40 is like 30, 20 years ago. You know, like it's still young, I think.
And on top of that, I know so many examples of guys that have had their success late 30s, early 40s, with the same mentality. They probably had a lot of hits and misses throughout life, but just have learned a lot. And I know I've learned so much. I'm constantly picking up these life lessons and understanding how things work, etc. So until you're off the planet, you know, there's always a second chance, and there's this growth mindset. The growth mindset is that you can. Like, when you have somebody that just knows in their mind that they can't, I mean, they're 100% right. And somebody that knows in their mind that they can, they're 100% right as well. So,
right.
and that's not a permanent thing. You just have to hit a switch. So that's exciting for me, especially as I meet, you know, I'm part of this group, an EO group, entrepreneurial group. There's probably one in Phuket, actually. It's a worldwide group, but it's basically a peer group of, we have 11 guys in our group, but it's a worldwide thing and a citywide and a nationwide thing where you go in and once a month you sit for 5 hours, and there's a way of communicating where you are, you know, not supposed to give advice. You have to give your experiences, because you got all these A personalities in there, and we talk about business, we talk about personal life, and so that for me is like a school. It's I'm like the dumbest guy in there and the least successful guy in there when it comes to the business side of things, but you know, it's just a way to soak things up. So I'm always looking for those little edges, and you get a lot of motivation when you're hearing other people's stories about the time and place that they accomplish things. And for us as athletes, most of our money and success is supposed to be made in these younger years, but the guys that know how to do it, the executives or the college graduates and guys with master's degree, their trajectory for making money and having success is much later. So it's a different dynamic, and you just have to see it as that, you know.
Absolutely, man. No, I totally agree. I got to get with you after the podcast, and maybe I can look it up and see where there's one around here.
I know there's one.
Cool.
I know there's one in Chiang Mai. But
there is one in Chiang Mai, I think, something like that. But it's tough to find people, and because, you know, Phuket's like a destination area. It's you know, so people come in and they leave. They come in and they leave. There's not a lot of people that stay here, and the people that live in Phuket generally aren't entrepreneurs. You know, like it's more of like.
You want to be honest?
I mean, there's business people here, but I mean, it's more of like a fast-paced kind of touristy, fun location. It's not much for like entrepreneurs.
We'll show you
trying to work hard. Yeah,
we'll show you what we mean.
Yeah, Chiang Mai is a little bit better, but like there's not a lot of like successful business people that are just sitting around talking around here, chatting.
Beautiful,
it up.
Fun place, safe and all that. Don't get me wrong, but it's not a business hub.
Yeah, it's not really.
Yeah, and so. For out there on your setup, you primarily are catering to tourists that want to train, correct?
It's everyone, man. Like, I mean, you can call them tourists, but a lot of the people that come to AKA Thailand are coming into Thailand just for the gym. Obviously, they're going to do stuff around Phuket as well, but they've come in to go to the gym. So it's like, I mean, I guess you can call them tourists, but
no, we got a lot of people that, you know, come for just one day, or, you know, we've got people who actually live here or are here for a year. But I'd say the average person's here a solid month. I guess we do the most.
And I tend to think of tourists. I tend to think of tourists as like the people that are at the beach and then they stumble into AKA Thailand because they heard about it and they're like, what's going on? I want to check out this gym. Whereas I'm talking about the people that we bring in could be classified as tourists, but they're coming in for AKA Thailand. So they've been following us on social media, on Instagram, whatever, and they see the gym and they've watched it kind of grow. Maybe their friends have came and they want to come get that experience, train, obviously go to the beaches and hang out in Phuket as well. And we do have a fight team and fighters as well. I think the majority of people are inexperienced as far as they're not fighters and professional athletes and stuff like that. But we have a good mix of everyone. I mean, it's a good crowd.
And we do have a couple
fairly busy.
We do have a couple killers in there too, though. I mean, don't get it wrong.
Johnny Walker's trained with us now, and we have Manel Cap.
Yeah,
he's a rising star. He's fighting in Japan. So we have some really good fighters that are in there as well. So it's a good mix, you know.
Nice, that's awesome. And how's the facility set up? What's the size of the facility?
Well, we have multiple buildings. We have an MMA building that has the offices, the showroom, the back administration. That building, the mat space is around 3,000 square feet. The building is obviously bigger. We got a full pro shop showroom and then the offices and stuff. We have a 5,500 square foot open air Muay Thai area, and that's right underneath the mountain. So you got a very beautiful, scenic landscape around you with jungle and mountain views. We have a weight room. It's about 1,500 to 2,000 square foot weight room. And then on top of that, we have another matching 15 to 2,000 square foot Airdyne room, which is it's also a matted room where we can do grappling and privates and things like that. Yoga, we do yoga there. But then we also have the famous AK Airdyne, and it's where all the fighters go up there and sweat. And yeah, it's cool, man.
We got a basketball court
court
if you want to hoop.
And we have a restaurant too. We have a full scale restaurant. So yeah, it's a pretty big facility. It's 2 acres and we're about half developed. So we're going to build another
47 employees.
47 employees, right now.
It's large.
It's a pretty big operation, but
awesome,
it's cool, man. You'll love it.
I can't wait to come check it out.
Yeah, you're going to love it, man. You're definitely going to love it. We'll get to get you out here.
Time.
I wanted to ask.
Time is the issue, man.
You got to make time, man. Time you can make, though. You can maneuver time.
You can maneuver. You can't make more, unfortunately. I wish we could. That's how you make some real money. When you find the guy that can make more time.
Yeah, but it's
you're
business.
Be sitting on a gold mine.
It's business, you're right. We got to talk business, winky face. So you got to come up here, and it's a business trip, and we talk
That's
business,
true.
we talk
tax
shop,
deductible,
train a little bit, and then we can go to the beach, cruise the islands. It's work, bro.
I'm in, bro. Sold.
Can I ask you real quick? So everyone's talking about the Henry fight, and I know you want to get that. I want to say on record that I think you deserve to get that fight. I think that a big thing that's frustrating me when all these people are talking about the rankings, and you're at 14, I think, or something. People don't realize.
Am I at 14? I mean, honestly, who cares about the fucking
exactly.
No, but
that's exactly what we said. Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say. Is it's not. People don't realize that you didn't lose your way down to wherever your rank is. You're coming back after 2 years, so it's not like we don't know what your rank is. You know what I mean? Who knows where you are because you haven't lost. You want to fight in the first round, so it's not like you've lost your way down. So people that keep pointing to these rankings and they're like, we need this person to get the title shot. It's like, first of all, it's an entertainment sport, right? We want to fight that makes sense. That's entertaining, and obviously that would be a very entertaining fight. It would sell, but also you've put the time in, man. You've done so much. You're a legend of the sport. For anybody to say that you don't deserve it for any reason whatsoever, that just pisses me off for some reason, man. I think you should 100% get that fight if you want it.
Yeah, because
I think it should be your call. You know,
I was gonna say when you retired, what were you, number 5, number 6, according to obviously bullshit. So I mean, just because you haven't fought
and
in
the fight before that, I was ranked number 2. I lost a lackluster fight. The guy was super defensive and kicked my ankles a couple times. Yeah. And that dropped me down to number 5 or 6. And then the fight before that, I had a 5-round fight with Dominic Cruz for a world championship. And that's all the year I retired. So, I mean, it's comical when people are like, well, he's talking about rankings, whatever. I mean, truthfully, Rafael Sunsao was ranked pretty high. I went over him. It was a long time ago. Dominic Cruz, we've had our wars. I got a win over him a long time ago, and we had our wars afterwards. And then the other guys, they're getting ranked right now because they've been beating guys that, the guy I just beat, Yeah. That's why. So I think it could happen, man.
I'm assuming it's going to happen. Yeah, I think you deserve it. I think, people want it to happen. One thing I want to ask you really fast, though, is I've seen a lot of interviews with you since the fight, and no one's really touched on this that I've heard. But what is your strategy against Henry? Where do you see that fight going, and how are you going to come into that fight? Because obviously you see yourself winning. So I just kind of want to tap into your head a little bit. Like, how do you see yourself winning, and how do you see that fight going?
So as far as Henry Cejudo goes, I saw his biggest attribute against Marlon was his mental toughness. He made adjustments and put pressure on, decided he was going to break Marlon. And Marlon's an explosive guy. He's super dynamic with his striking, but he faded, and that's something that throughout history I've been known as the guy that does not fade, the guy that does not fatigue, the guy that does not break, is this mental strength, etc. And that is me. That's what one of my biggest strengths. The other thing is speed. At 40 still, I watched hours and hours of my sparring progressively as a younger guy all the way till right before I retired, and now while I've been training, in my comeback, and I haven't lost my speed. I went and got my eyes checked. They say that your eyes are the first thing to go. I've got 10/20 vision. I've got like superhuman vision, and that hasn't faded a bit. So for me, I feel like, I'm going to be a little bit bigger than Henry. He's a 125 pounder. There's no way I can make 125s. I definitely have a more well-rounded skill set than Henry. Absolutely. My jiu-jitsu is world class. I've submitted guys that have never been submitted. I can go with a world champion like Paulo Miao, and we get to 6 overtimes, and he got an advantage for time. I've got strength where I can go with a guy that's 190 pounds. It's a Hall of Famer like Sakuraba, and my skill set has been getting better because I've been grinding, teaching my little tricks and dissecting what's made things work and being able to pass it on to the next generation. And so I feel like I've gotten better. I think the biggest thing that I need to do against Henry is get myself in phenomenal, and this sounds like a lot of fun to me, test myself to where I'm just focused on getting in incredible shape, really sharpen up my defense and be able to hold a high pace. But I don't think he's better than me in any respect, to be honest, except for his Olympic wrestling level, which I invite to the ground. Take me down. That's like I've got the most submissions, I think, in the WC, UFC, and Strikeforce combined. I've got 19 submissions in fights, and a lot of those guys have never been submitted before. So, take me down. That's my world, and him getting takedowns. That's kind of his world. So for me, I feel like speed, power, and know-how is going to be on my side, and then it becomes a question of who's got more willpower and who's mentally stronger, and so that's where the tit for tat will be.
I love it, man. Yeah, there you go. That sells your fight right there. If anybody questions why this fight should happen, there you go. Right from
I do have to ask, I know you've known him a while, and we've all seen the Twitter and the Instagram back and forth, whatever, little jabs at each other. Is that just y'all being just talking shit, friendly shit, or is there something serious with that?
Me and Henry or Dana White?
Well, I mean, if you want to throw Dana in there, I didn't know. I know he called you old or whatever, but that's, he does it to him too. Yeah, so.
That's just Dana.
But no, as far as you,
no, with Henry, no, I've known Henry a long time. I mean, we're not like best friends, but we're super, super respectful of each other when we see each other. When he said Triple C, in unison. All the little meatheads around town were saying Triple C these nuts, that was low hanging fruit. But I'm just he responded to me on Twitter. I don't even use Twitter, but somebody's like, "Did you see what Henry did on Twitter?" And I was like, "No." And he said corn rolled princess, which I mean, you can imagine I was so upset.
Oh yeah.
but no, I'm just joking. So no, it's all in fun for me. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we don't have a beef. Yeah. Like a beef. Like if I see him, I'm gonna be angry or anything. No.
Yeah, he doesn't really care. He doesn't really care what he says and what people, or he doesn't care what people think, because he's just like, he says some crazy stuff now. Like since he's since he's won these championships. Yeah. Like, it's crazy.
Nobody wears their Olympic medal more than that guy.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
But he doesn't seem to care at all, like what people think. So good for him,
Michael
I guess.
Phelps got like 14 of them, and I've never seen him wear one, and then just,
yeah.
But that's his stick, dude.
I get it. Yeah, I mean, Henry, I would wear it.
You got to appreciate that Henry doesn't care what people think.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I also think there's a level of self-awareness that he's missing, that started this whole thing out. I think he took the cringe thing and ran with it, but he can be a little awkward, before people pointed it out.
It works for him, though, I mean.
But you know what? I have a lot of respect for Henry. I mean, what he's accomplished is pretty incredible. The way he carries himself, it's not bad. It's not like he's arrogant to people. It's not like he's trying to be something he's not. He's just being himself, and he's being happy, and he's proud of what he's accomplished, and he wants a lot, as he should be. That's a guy that definitely can manifest things. And he did actually 10 years ago. He came to train with us, and before he started fighting, and at the end of it all, he said, "We think, Faber, maybe me and you will fight each other someday." And at the time, I was a world champ, or I had just lost to Mike Brown the second time with broken hands, and I said, "Yeah, man, it's possible." And I remember thinking that I knew it was possible, and I didn't think he knew it was possible. But again, that's the type of guys that we are. We think anything's possible, which is great.
And here we are.
Yeah.
And here it is.
Yeah.
That's sick.
That's when you were 30.
Well, I'm 30. I'm rooting for you to get that fight, man. And then when you do, obviously, I got your back. I'm definitely pulling for you to win. So
I might have to do if it's super far out, I'm gonna have to do a mini camp out there. Go pick up some new Muay Thai techniques and get a breath of the mountain air out there.
That's right, man.
I mean, ask Cody. Obviously, he's been a guest here. Actually, he was in house. He's been here and stuff. So I know he's got good things to say about the place.
But he wants to come back out here as well. Yeah. But yeah, man, we got to get you out here. I'm excited.
Yeah, maybe me and Cody will come out together. I'd love to have Cody up. Man, Cody's so friggin' sharp, man. He came in for a couple practices in my preparation. It's like just having him in there brings your level up because he's such a intense mofo, and his skill set's so high. So I'm excited for him to get back in there. He's on a little bit of a skid, but it'll take probably one good fight to get him back in the mix too.
He's got such intensity, man, and his speed and power, like combined, is just so. This makes such an impact, man.
Watching him train,
even training here, it's just crazy, man. Yeah.
So fast, man. It's ridiculous,
dude. He's a powerful guy, and it's funny because I've got some pounds on him, and I'm like, okay, this dude definitely hits harder than me.
I think he hits harder than a lot of people bigger than him.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's wild, man.
For sure, man. Before we leave, I want to ask, do you have anything that you want to talk about or share where we can, I don't know, you're working on a lot of movie projects and things like that. Anything we can look at or that you're working on now that we can be aware of?
Yeah, we finished our first feature film. I think I sent you the trailer for it, Green Fever. Mm-hmm. And then the Salmon story. Salmon was a UFC fighter at 170. Did you ever fight him?
No, I didn't.
He has a book that he wrote about his girlfriend's drug addiction and how he really took it to heart. He ended up dying of his own drug overdose, and so we're working on a project now. My producing partner and director Jared Roxburgh was best friends with him, and so he helped him write his book and also put this script together, and so that's something we're trying to do. Maybe that's something we can get you in there, Swick.
Yeah.
As a character, man. But working on that project.
Don't worry, he's been telling me that since I met him at Arnold's house. It didn't happen, dude. It's not. This is Hollywood talk. What you're seeing right now is classic Hollywood talk. Hey, Swick, I got you. I got you in this next film. Don't worry. And then like a year later, we meet, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Swick, I got you in the next film."
Kid, I mean,
you're too Hollywood for me already, Uriah. Already, man.
That's funny. We got to get you on the casting couch, man.
Whoa. This bad boy right here. Don't ask.
No, but we got a bunch of different projects, and I've been trying to kind of lock in some stories. We've got some really good stories. My buddy Iron Cowboy, James Lawrence, trying to get the rights to his story. 50 Ironmen, 50 states, and 50 consecutive days. Really incredible story, and I've got a couple other things where we're trying to get the rights to different content. But just moving forward with that, it's something that that takes a long time to get going because it's all about funding and it's all about who's attached and things like that. But I've learned a lot about those projects, and we're still in the process of trying to sell Green Fever, which we had an offer from Lionsgate right off the bat, but the terms didn't work out, so we walked away from that. And but it's exciting, man. I've been learning a lot about stuff, and it's getting to a point where it's becoming one of my passions, and that's a fun thing.
Awesome, man. Well, remember that whole like network thing, helping each other out, and help me out. You know, when you start getting these big films, help a brother out over here.
Oh yeah.
I'm far from Hollywood. You know, I'm losing. You're one of my main connections right now.
That's right. That's right.
Wow. All I want is you to bring me some beef jerky if you come.
He gets beef jerky from everybody, dude.
We can't get it here, man.
I could do that.
The cows are anorexic.
The next thing is we have a Kinetic. Kinetic is a grappling tournament that's going to happen August 16th in Las Vegas, and I've teamed up with Roy Jones Jr. and his promoting partners, Keith Beltran, and we're doing our first event. This event is almost like a quintet type of thing. There's going to be teams. Chael Sonnen has a team. There's a couple other. I think there's 4 teams that compete against each other, 5-on-5, and so we're working with the UFC Fight Pass to do that. And I'll be doing a little bit of commentary, interviewing guys, and helping put that whole thing together. I'm one of the founders of that company with Roy Jones Jr. and Keith Beltran. So maybe we'll do one out there, a remote one in Thailand. That would be sick.
Dude,
we've got some other plans in that front.
People don't realize this, but Phuket is the mecca for fighters and fitness enthusiasts, kind of like people who come here and flock to this place of anywhere on the planet, like anywhere in the world, guaranteed. Like nobody knows this, but this one island gets more people coming in here for fighting, Muay Thai, strength and conditioning, CrossFit, all that stuff than anywhere else in the world. This place is like a hub, man. There's thousands and thousands of people here right now that are training at all these gyms. It's not we have one gym, but there's probably what?
Yeah. I think 70% of the people you run into just at a grocery store.
It's a big island, man.
Is a fighter or fights or trains.
It's crazy. Yeah. Like nobody knows. And like we have one of the biggest gyms. Obviously us and Tiger are the 2 biggest gyms, but there's a ton of other gyms. There's probably 50 gyms on this island. From Muay Thai, MMA, strength and conditioning.
Street, it's like all of them are right next to each other.
That's one street, but there's a lot of more.
That's why we're away from them.
Yeah, we're away from that. We're in a more scenic area. We're in the jungle.
How far away are you guys from that?
Probably 10, 15
12 minutes, yeah. 5 kilometers, whatever a kilometer is.
It's not far, but that street's really packed and busy, and like it used to be like nothing there, and then it just grew up so much over the last 10 years, and now it's just like so touristy and buses and cars and tons of restaurants and shops. So we're more in the quiet area. It's getting built up now. They're building accommodations. It's going to be open up next month, and they're now excavating the land next to us. So it's starting to get built up because of our gym, but I don't think it's going to be nothing like that road. So we're going to hold on to that little paradise jungle kind of feeling that you get when you train with us.
Yeah, if you're not first, be different.
Yeah, exactly,
22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. That's a good little book. Like some simple little lessons, and that's one of them that always sticks out.
Absolutely, man.
If you're not first, be different.
Absolutely. But if you bring that thing here, like I said, man, a grappling tournament here would get a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of gyms that have grapplers, so it's not just our gym. It would be all the gyms. So you can definitely put on shows here for sure.
I can set you up with all the accommodations and all the, whatever y'all need, transportation and all that stuff. So we make it easy for people to come here.
Yeah, definitely, buddy.
And what do you guys do? Last thing before we rock, what do you guys do for housing? Do you guys have housing on campus there?
We have an on-site accommodation coming probably the beginning of next month.
Yeah, probably 25 days.
24 Bali-style rooms, really nice.
Oh, wow.
But it's located off, but like across the street. It's like
a 10-second walk.
Literally maybe like 30 steps. It's like super close. But we just keep our land completely for training, because I just kind of like the feeling of like leaving at 8 o'clock and then everything gets locked up, and then I go home and there's no problems, there's no fights, there's no air conditioners going out, there's no bickering, there's so many problems that can happen when you have accommodations on site and you have to deal with so much. I'm trying to keep AKA Thailand 100% training, and then we have accommodations coming up around the facility, and those are managed by other people.
And we work with 8 different hotels, probably accommodate all the way from economic to if you need your own swimming pool and chef, that kind of resort
all levels.
So just let me know what you need and I'll book it.
Cool, guys. Hey, I got to get you on my podcast next, Swick.
Name it, dude. I'll be on there.
Okay, we're building out the new spot now. It's with my buddy Greg Conley from Trifecta Nutrition. He's in my EO group also. But yeah, so I'll set that up with you guys.
Absolutely, cool, awesome, man. I look forward to it.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for having me, guys. I got to go to practice. Practice starts at 9:30.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I know
beat the crap out of each other.
I know we took a lot of your time, so I really appreciate you giving us this much and talking so much with us, buddy.
It was a pleasure, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Have a good one, guys.
Take care, bro. Man, finally got him on the show, Uriah Faber. And, man, good. Like I said before, good thing we kind of waited because a lot more news this time, a lot more cool things to talk about, and a lot more has happened.
Yeah, one of not only the best guests, I'm going to say, but obviously one of my favorites. So I'm definitely glad he finally decided to join us. Yeah,
I love talking to him, man. Like, we talked more professionally here about, obviously fighting and stuff, but, he loves talking about film and business. And so when we meet, it's just like we just like beat heads together for like, it's cool, man.
So when he gets here, mindset. I'm going to be that third wheel when he gets here.
Oh, you're going to love it. You love business now, man. You
I know, but I mean, I don't know shit about film and movie and fighting. And
he's just an inspirational dude, man, because he's just like, he's driven, he's 40 years old, and obviously we just saw him win a fight against a tough guy in devastating fashion, and he takes on his post-fight career just as hard, and just as solid. So it's cool, man. I always say that, like, being a fighter, like, it makes you successful enough to ruin your life, kind of, if that makes sense, right? Because you get so famous, you think you get so famous, but you don't get so rich as you are famous. You're way more famous than you are rich. Yeah. So if you don't have something after fighting, you set yourself up for a really bad fall, which is why I kind of had a rough ending to my career, because I had one foot out the door because I was having to try to set up other stuff, which was a whole nother battle, ups and downs and stuff. But yeah, man, being a fighter is great when you're coming up and when you're winning fights and when you're making money. You feel way richer than you are. You start getting these big checks and you just think they're coming forever. So you think you're doing great. You feel famous and successful and rich and all this stuff. But then that time comes when you realize that everything comes back down. And unlike in business, where when you start building things that kind of there's some retention there and it stays for a while and can take care of you for a lot longer. And so then you got to start over. And I see these fighters that just kind of like
seems like crumble. He's doing well though,
And that's what I'm saying, long story short, that's what I love about him.
Even for him to come back and then win, obviously, and like you did, you used one, the fight purse from one of your last fights to, we wouldn't be here,
right?
So
and it was after a layoff too, 910 days off, and then
what a cool guy. That's my first time. Like I've talked to him for like 8 minutes before, which I know he won't remember, but but this was the first in depth, and yeah, man,
he's a cool dude. I'm excited for him to come out here. And you saw the questions that he asked about the gym and stuff, because he's really into like the business talk and stuff like that, and what other people's doing, because he feeds off that, and that's a good sign of an entrepreneur. That's what's
going next door to us. Team Alpha Male Thailand.
We'll help them build their own gym.
Thailand right Alpha Male.
But I'm excited to get him out here and train at the gym, man. It's gonna be fun, and hopefully Cody can come back, which we should be having Cody on the show soon. I talked to him yesterday, so he should be coming on maybe next if his schedule allows. So
I'm ready.
Start knocking these things out. Are you ready?
Love it.
All right. Well, I want to thank our sponsors real fast. Junyu, Starfish Concept, always behind us, always supporting us, helping us with the Chinese, Hong Kong, Taiwanese market, and obviously AKA Thailand, our main sponsor.
One of my favorites.
Any updates from AKA Thailand? I always throw you on the spot like this, but it's getting busy, right?
Oh man, dude.
For slow season, man, we're killing
What's cool
it right now.
I don't know what we did, but we're starting to get large groups coming.
Yeah.
Now, we've always had here and there, but now we've got 30. I've got 4 groups of 10 to 15 or more in the next 3 weeks. We got a group of 30 come in just obviously 3 days ago, as you were there. But so I mean, it's cool to see these large groups, and people are really enjoying them because they get to train with their friends. It's not some people come here, they feel a little, I don't know, awkward or socially anxious because they don't know anybody. It's a different country, different land, So we've seen that these groups that come, man, they just have a blast. So.
I love it, man. I love it. You saw me today talking to people. Yeah. I love talking to people and hearing their story about where they came from, why they came. I mean, I remember the days when we first built the gym, and we built the gym in the middle of nowhere, obviously, as you know, because we wanted that beautiful scenery surrounding the gym. But the downside of that is no one could find the gym, and it took a long time to get people not only to come to our gym but to know. And so I remember in the beginning, like watching people come in like one at a time, and I was just so happy to see somebody coming in and hoping it was a customer, not a delivery guy or somebody looking for a job or something. And then now to see not only are people coming, but they're going back and getting their friends and their family, and then they're going back and getting their entire gym. It's like what we have
crazy
now.
How many people,
tons of people.
As you heard today, how many people? This is my 3rd time. This is my 4th time. This is my 2nd time. It's. I mean, it's great to see. Obviously, great to hear, and it's always cool people. So,
Well, anyway, that's cool. We're going to sit and talk about that.
Yeah, so
all
come to
day,
the gym. Yeah.
For those of you that haven't seen the gym or don't know what we're talking about, we're going to play a commercial right now. Do you want to do the commercial? Whose turn is it?
After the fist bump.
After the fist bump.
Yeah, we always got a fist bump. But
I'll let you do it.
Am I going to point to the...
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I know it's so exciting for you.
God, this is the highlight of my
Good
podcasting.
Hey, we'll see you guys later.
What's up, everybody? I am here in Thailand. This is the first time I've ever been here. Been dying to come here for years. The great Mike Swick. He's one of the big reasons he's been trying to pull me down here. What he built down here, AKA Thailand, is incredible. There's people here from all over the world. You can train mixed martial arts here, jiu-jitsu. They have weightlifting, they have cardio, and obviously they have Muay Thai, boxing, everything. I'm telling you guys, I know everybody wants to go to Thailand because Thailand's so cool, but you can't come to Thailand without coming to AKA Thailand. Come on.